This is how your body secretly knows it's the right person. The body never lies. Martha Graham. Have you ever wondered why you feel an instant sense of calm or unease when you meet someone, even before your mind has time to analyze it? Today on Spiritual Wisdom, we're exploring Carl Jung's surprising truth about how your body secretly knows when it's the right person. As you listen, I invite you to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever felt this hidden knowing within yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your story might inspire someone else on their journey to personal growth and happiness. 1. The body knows before the mind. Your body carries an ancient wisdom that speaks long before your conscious mind can form an opinion. And in moments of true connection, this wisdom reveals itself with unmistakable clarity. When you are with someone who is aligned with your spirit, you notice how your breathing naturally slows and deepens. Your shoulders loosen, and your entire being feels light, safe, and at ease without effort. This is more than comfort. It is the silent recognition of resonance, the soul's way of saying that you are standing in the right presence. Spirituality and spiritual awakening remind us that this ease is not ordinary. It is the body echoing the truth that cannot be put into words. Yet this wisdom does not only guide you toward what is right, it also warns you when something is wrong. You may meet someone who seems perfect by every rational measure, yet your stomach tightens, your chest feels heavy, or your breath shortens around them. These signals are not accidents. They are sacred alarms that your spirit sets off to protect you from misalignment disguised as compatibility. Carl Jung believed the unconscious often reveals itself through bodily reactions, and these reactions are not to be dismissed. In spiritual awakening, discomfort is not a flaw in you. It is clarity rising from within, urging you to honor the truth of your energy. Think about the times you silenced these signals because logic convinced you otherwise. When you stayed in a relationship that looked right to others, but always left you feeling restless or uneasy inside. That tension was your body's way of telling you something essential was missing, even if your mind tried to justify staying. Spiritual wisdom teaches us that real love is not measured by appearances or achievements. It is measured by the peace, vitality, and freedom you feel in your body when you are with someone. When your nervous system feels calm enough to rest, when your spirit expands instead of contracts, that is love aligned with your highest self. Jung's surprising truth is that the body is often the first to know what the mind takes longer to accept. And this is why people speak of gut instincts or heart knowing. These are not vague feelings, but profound signals that reflect the language of truth your spirit speaks through your body. Spirituality reminds us that awakening is not about leaving the body behind, but about embracing its messages. Because the body is not a barrier to the soul, it is the soul's instrument. When you learn to trust these signals, you step beyond illusions of perfection and move toward authentic connection that nourishes your inner growth. Every tightening, every breath, every wave of ease or unease is your body's way of guiding you on the path of love and truth. Spiritual awakening deepens when you no longer ignore these signals, but allow them to shape your choices. Because in every sacred whisper of comfort or discomfort, your body reveals the hidden truth of alignment. Trust it, for it is through the body that the soul speaks first. long before the mind is ready to listen. Have you ever felt your body warning or guiding you before your mind could explain it? If yes, share your story in the comments so others can learn from your experience. If not, simply comment, "I will listen to my body," and let's explore this hidden wisdom together. 2. Collective unconscious and somatic awareness. Carl Jung believed that the body carries the collective unconscious, a reservoir of spiritual wisdom shared by all humanity. And this ancient knowledge often expresses itself through the subtle sensations we feel in our bodies. Your nervous system is constantly processing cues that go far beyond words. The tone of someone's voice, the flicker of a micro-expression, the energy that surrounds them, and from these signals, it forms instinctive reactions that reveal truths you might not consciously recognize. That is why you may meet someone who appears perfect in every logical sense, yet your stomach tightens, your breath shortens, and something within you resists, while with another person, you feel an unexplainable ease, as though your very soul has recognized theirs before your mind had time to think. These responses are not accidents. They are signs of deeper alignment or dissonance, the body's way of guiding you toward or away from certain connections. The wisdom of the body speaks in a language older than thought, and Jung's insights remind us that our instincts are gateways into the unconscious, helping us sense authenticity long before rational analysis begins. When your body relaxes in someone's presence, when your shoulders drop and your breath becomes steady, it is a sign of resonance, a message that you are safe and connected on a soul level. When tension rises, when you feel a weight pressing down, or an inexplicable anxiety stirring, your unconscious is warning you of a mismatch, protecting you from an illusion that reason alone might fail to detect. Jung once wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." And your body often knows this potential for transformation long before your conscious mind does. Most people are taught to trust the rational mind, to create lists of desirable traits, and to evaluate relationships with logic. But true spiritual awakening invites you to listen more deeply to your inner signals. The body, far from being a passive vessel, is a living compass that directs you toward what is genuine and away from what is false. These embodied reactions connect you to the collective unconscious, to the timeless flow of human memory and wisdom that transcends personal experience. By paying attention to your physical responses, you access a hidden intelligence that helps you distinguish between what merely appears right and what truly resonates with your essence. Your task is to notice and honor these signs, to trust the voice that does not use words. When your body expands with warmth and calm in someone's presence, it is telling you that this connection nurtures your being. When it contracts into tension or unease, it signals that something is misaligned with your path. This is not superstition, but a profound psychological truth rooted in both Carl Jung's teachings and the spiritual wisdom of countless traditions. As Rumi wrote, "There is a voice that doesn't use words." Listen. Your body is that voice. And when you listen, you allow yourself to move closer to the relationships that elevate your soul and awaken the deepest truths within you. 3. True connection versus shadow projection. A true connection reveals itself not in chaos, but in calm recognition, ease, and a deep peace that quietly settles over you, a kind of inner stillness that lets you know you are safe. When it is right, your body speaks a language that is older and wiser than the mind, showing you through relaxed breath, steady heartbeat, and grounded presence that you are where you belong. Carl Jung understood this as the authentic signal of compatibility. Love that nourishes rather than consumes. Love that steadies you instead of leaving you restless. As Rumi beautifully said, the soul has been given its own ears to hear things the mind does not understand. And when you are aligned with the right person, every fiber of your being resonates with that truth, not through dramatic intensity, but through quiet assurance that this is a safe and sacred bond. By contrast, overwhelming chemistry, anxious obsession, or magnetic pulls that feel addictive are often signs of shadow projection, where you are not truly in love with the person before you, but with the parts of yourself you have long repressed or denied. Jung explained that what we bury in the unconscious eventually surfaces in the form of projection, and so these intense attractions often carry the weight of unresolved wounds or unmet childhood needs. You might mistake the rush for destiny, but beneath it lies the psyche's attempt to heal itself by reenacting old pain. If you felt unseen as a child, you may be drawn to someone who withholds affection. If you carry shame, you may be magnetized by someone who reflects it back to you. These are not signs of soul alignment, but signals that deeper healing is needed within. Because as Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The danger is that such shadow-driven connections masquerade as love, promising fulfillment, yet delivering cycles of confusion and heartbreak. They may feel like twin flames, irresistible and all-consuming, yet they only recreate patterns that keep you trapped in longing and self-abandonment. Spiritual growth requires the courage to see through the illusion and to trust your body's wisdom over your mind's stories. The body knows the difference because real love makes you feel lighter rather than heavier, freer rather than confined, whole rather than fractured. When the connection is true, it will not drain your energy, but replenish it. It will not shrink your spirit, but expand it. And it will not pull you into desperation, but guide you into peace. The lesson for your journey is clear. Do not confuse intensity with intimacy or chemistry with compatibility. Spirituality teaches that true love is not about burning passion that leaves ashes behind, but about steady warmth that sustains and uplifts. The right person will not ask you to lose yourself, but will help you find yourself more deeply, and the relationship will become a sanctuary for growth, healing, and joy. Trust the quiet signals of your body, for they are the truest compass toward love that is not just exciting to the mind, but nourishing to the soul. Let this truth guide you in love and connection, choosing what is real and not just a shadow. Comment below "True Connection" to affirm your journey, and consider subscribing with the notification bell so we can walk together in spiritual wisdom. 4. False positives, trauma bonds. Your body often responds before your mind has time to think. But when old wounds linger, it can confuse the familiarity of pain with the depth of love. This is the deceptive nature of false positives, or trauma bonds, where the nervous system recalls what it has known in the past and mistakes it for intimacy. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And nowhere is this more evident than in relationships that feel electrifying yet leave you unsettled. The rush of attraction, the dizzying spark, the feeling that someone is irresistibly important can be less about genuine connection and more about your body replaying unresolved stories. That heightened chemistry is often a reflection of old patterns, unpredictable moods, inconsistent affection, the cycle of tension and relief that once defined survival and now masquerade as passion. In the glow of this illusion, the mind interprets the racing heart and the tightening stomach as signs of love, when in truth, they are echoes of trauma disguised as desire. Such connections often burn brightly at the start, consuming your attention, disrupting your sleep, and convincing you that this intensity must be destiny. Yet as days unfold, the intensity turns into imbalance. Energy drains, boundaries blur, joy feels conditional, and your inner peace slips further away. What felt intoxicating at first becomes exhausting, leaving you trapped in cycles of hope and disappointment. The body craves resolution, so it seeks out what is familiar, even when it hurts, creating a loop that leaves you mistaking volatility for love. But the same body that is drawn to these patterns can also be trained to recognize truth. A safe and genuine connection does not leave you breathless with anxiety, but allows your breath to deepen, your muscles to release, and your mind to rest. Safety is not dullness. It is the quiet brilliance of being fully seen, valued, and free to exist without shrinking. Through spirituality and spiritual awakening, you begin to hear your body in a new way, recognizing that real love does not demand you sacrifice your dignity or constantly negotiate for respect. The body's wisdom becomes clear when you slow down, listen, and give yourself permission to choose peace over chaos. True intimacy is marked not by overwhelming highs and lows, but by steady presence, consistent care, and genuine curiosity. These green flags of respect, honesty, accountability, and tenderness teach your nervous system a new rhythm, one where love expands instead of contracts, where joy is natural rather than conditional, and where you can rest in the certainty that you are cherished without needing to prove your worth. In this way, what once felt like fate loses its grip, and what once felt unfamiliar calm, stability, mutual growth becomes the very foundation of love that heals rather than love that harms. 5. Authentic compatibility and synchronicity. Carl Jung described the feeling of being with the right person as the homecoming, a state where your body exhales deeply, your spirit relaxes, and you no longer feel the need to perform or protect yourself. It is not an illusion of the mind, but a reality your body recognizes first, a quiet knowing that you are safe, aligned, and seen. When you find such a connection, breathing falls into rhythm, as if two souls are sharing the same hidden music. Silence becomes soothing rather than awkward, and presence feels effortless instead of heavy. This is not chance, but synchronicity, what Jung called the mysterious language of the universe, where inner truth and outer reality merge in a way that cannot be denied. The signs of authentic compatibility reveal themselves in subtle ways that are easy to overlook, yet deeply powerful. The comfort of shared silence shows that you do not need constant words to prove your value, for simply being together is enough. Natural eye contact flows without resistance, not as a performance, but as recognition, as if you have known each other before across time and space. Jung explained that these moments are guided by archetypes within the collective unconscious, patterns older than language that draw two people together when their souls are ready. Your body responds to this familiarity by softening its defenses, allowing you to feel both safe and alive at the same time, which is the essence of true intimacy. Unlike fleeting passion that burns bright and fades quickly, these connections create vitality and harmony that endure. Love rooted only in desire can excite the senses, but often leaves the spirit restless, while love rooted in synchronicity heals, strengthens, and brings wholeness over the years. Jung believed that transformation occurs when two authentic personalities meet. For as he said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Modern psychology now confirms this truth, showing that genuine compatibility lowers stress, improves health, and even extends life, reminding us that real love is medicine for the soul as much as for the body. When your breath deepens in their presence, when silence feels nourishing, when your eyes meet with ease and you feel recognized rather than judged, your body is speaking with spiritual wisdom, telling you that this is the right person. It is not something you can manufacture with logic or lists of qualities, for authentic compatibility emerges naturally and cannot be forced. The body knows long before the mind accepts, whispering what the soul has always known, that home is not a place, but a presence. And when you honor that knowing, you step into the kind of connection that brings healing, harmony, and a love that aligns with the deepest truths of your being. As we uncover the truth of authentic compatibility and synchronicity, let's honor the wisdom of our bodies that speaks louder than logic. Your presence here shows you're seeking deeper connection, not surface illusions. Leave a comment. I trust my body's wisdom to guide me to the right person, as a declaration of your journey into spiritual wisdom and Carl Jung's insight. And let's continue walking this path together. 6. Integration and healing in true love. Even authentic love can stir resistance within you, because when someone truly safe and genuine enters your life, your body begins to reorganize itself for deeper safety and intimacy. And this shift can feel unfamiliar or even overwhelming. At first, your nervous system may struggle to adjust, and you may notice temporary anxiety, fatigue, or physical symptoms that seem to appear without reason. This does not mean love is wrong for you. It means your inner world is recalibrating, learning to accept closeness while releasing the protective barriers you once built to shield yourself from pain. Carl Jung wisely said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And this truth reminds you that much of your resistance comes from old wounds stored deep within your body, now rising to the surface so they can finally be healed. When you lean into authentic love, spirituality teaches that healing often comes disguised as discomfort, because real transformation asks you to confront what you have hidden. The very presence of a true connection invites your body and soul to let go of fear and to embrace a new reality where trust, vulnerability, and closeness are possible. This may feel like chaos at first, but it is the beginning of order. As your nervous system adjusts, you may feel restless or even exhausted, Yet these sensations are signs that something powerful is unfolding. Your spirit is expanding, and your body is making space for deeper love. Spiritual growth is never about avoiding the hard moments. It is about using them as gateways to freedom, because each wave of discomfort carries within it the seed of renewal. Over time, as love settles in and your body learns that intimacy can be safe, you begin to feel its healing power in every part of your life. True connection not only strengthens your health and emotional resilience, but also awakens a freedom within you that no outside force can easily disturb. You begin to notice that your breath feels lighter, your presence feels calmer, and your heart carries a quiet strength. This is integration of the alignment of mind, body, and spirit into a state of harmony where authentic intimacy can thrive. Love, then, is not just romance, but a process of becoming whole, a sacred path that reshapes you into a stronger and freer version of yourself. And when you allow love to guide you in this way, it transforms from a feeling into a profound force of healing, teaching you that resistance is not a barrier, but an invitation to grow into the fullness of who you are meant to be. 7. The final truth. Drama, obsession, and chaos are not the marks of love. They are the echoes of wounds still unhealed, the restless shadows of what we mistake for passion, but is only confusion wearing a mask. The body, however, never lies. When it meets the right person, it does not tremble with fear or tighten with doubt. It softens, it breathes, it recognizes. Peace, ease, and embodied belonging become the true signal, a quiet knowing that whispers to you, here, you are safe. Here, you can be authentic. Here, you are free. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious speaks in symbols, and the body is its most ancient language, guiding us toward truth long before the mind can catch up. Shadow attraction, on the other hand, is a trick of the psyche. It ignites with intensity, burns with obsession, and traps us in cycles of drama that feel exciting but secretly drain the soul. These connections are built on projections and unmet needs, and though they begin with fire, they rarely sustain warmth. The spiritual awakening lies in learning to discern the difference, in realizing that the pull you once called chemistry may only be an echo of pain. To trust your body is to free yourself from these illusions, because it always tells you when something is not right. The shallow breath, the knot in the stomach, the unease that lingers despite all rational arguments. But when it is true, the body knows. You feel calm without effort. Your laughter flows without performance. Your silence feels like companionship rather than emptiness. You do not need to strive to be accepted, because your essence is already enough. This is embodied belonging to the soul-level connection that heals instead of wounds, expands instead of confines, liberates instead of binds. Spirituality reminds us that real love does not take you away from yourself. It brings you deeper into who you are meant to be. Listening to your body's subtle wisdom is the most powerful act of alignment, because it helps you distinguish between illusion and truth. The mind can be deceived, but the body recognizes authenticity immediately. Jung believed that wholeness comes from integrating what is hidden, and when you honor the signals within, you open the door to relationships that nurture instead of consume. In that awareness, you stop chasing the storm and begin to recognize the sanctuary. The right person will not disturb your peace. They will deepen it. They will not make you feel small. They will allow you to expand. They will not ask you to wear a mask. They will love you as you are. And when you meet them, you will not need to question it, because every part of your being will already know. To affirm your trust in the hidden wisdom of your body, declare it today. Comment below, "I trust my inner knowing," as a sign that you honor the guidance within and inspire others to listen to their own truth. As we've explored today, Carl Jung revealed that your body carries an ancient wisdom that often speaks louder than logic, guiding you toward the connections that are truly right for your soul. When you feel at peace, safe, and deeply recognized in someone's presence, it is not an accident, it is your inner truth signaling alignment. Let this wisdom inspire you to trust your intuition in love and in life, because your body often knows long before your mind does. How do you personally recognize when someone is right for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective, and if this message from spiritual wisdom has spoken to your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on this journey of growth and self-discovery. Quantum leaping is real. Here's what Carl Jung never taught you. As Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." Today, on Spiritual Wisdom, we're diving into a truth that even Jung himself never fully revealed: the reality of quantum leaping and how it can transform your life. This isn't just theory. It's a doorway to personal growth, happiness, and a deeper spiritual awakening. Imagine breaking free from the limits of your current reality and stepping boldly into the life you've always felt was waiting for you. Are you ready to explore what it really means to leap into a higher version of yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever felt a sudden shift, as if life catapulted you into a new chapter overnight? 1. Quantum jumping is a real, energetic process. Quantum leaping is not simply a metaphor for change, nor is it a mindset trick. It is a vibrational leap, a real energetic process that echoes the mysteries of quantum physics, where electrons do not climb in slow progression, but jump instantaneously from one orbit to another without passing through the space between. This is the hidden pattern of transformation available to us in our own lives. You do not need to crawl step by step toward a new identity, because true change does not come through gradual progression, but through an energetic shift that redefines who you are in a single moment. Spirituality teaches that awakening often arrives like lightning, a sudden illumination rather than a slow dawn. And this is the essence of quantum leaping. You shift identity vibrationally, crossing into the man you were meant to become, the way light instantly fills a room when a switch is flipped. Carl Jung spoke often of individuation, the journey of becoming whole, yet even he never fully explained the instantaneous energetic nature of transformation. The leap is not bound by time or habit, but by vibration. It happens when you stop identifying with the orbit of your old self and accept fully, without hesitation, the frequency of your higher self. This does not mean pretending to be something you are not. It means embodying what already exists in potential, aligning your entire being with a reality that has been waiting for you. A man does not become courageous after years of wrestling with fear. He becomes courageous the moment he decides fear no longer commands him. That decision, that ignition, is a quantum leap. and it reflects the truth that reality responds to your vibration, not your timetable. Every emotion, every thought, every choice is an energetic ripple. But a leap occurs when you choose to sever ties with the old orbit, when you no longer negotiate with the identity of who you once were, but instead inhabit fully the energy of who you are destined to be. This is not reckless change. It is conscious awakening. The moment you realize that life is multidimensional and that the version of yourself you dream of already exists in another frequency. To leap is to embody that frequency now, to stop waiting, to claim it. Spiritual awakening is never about slow accumulation. It is about alignment, and alignment happens the instant you surrender the old vibration and embrace the new. This is why so many men in midlife feel restless and trapped, not because they have failed, but because their soul whispers that the next leap is long overdue. You have walked enough steps on the staircase of incremental progress, and now the path ahead demands a leap, because the life you long for cannot be reached by effort alone, but only by stepping into the consciousness of it here and now. Until you make this shift, your unconscious will continue to steer your path, and you will call it fate, as Jung warned. But when you leap, you seize fate itself and transform it into destiny. A true quantum leap is a spiritual awakening, a deliberate crossing from the man you were into the man you are meant to be. And it happens not tomorrow, not after a slow grind of years, but in the instant you align with the vibration of your higher self. Comment below, "I am leaping into my highest reality," if you are ready to experience the true power of quantum jumping. 2. Discomfort signals the jump. Discomfort is not a sign that you are failing. It is the signal that you are on the edge of transformation. And when you begin to understand this truth, you enter into the very heart of spiritual wisdom that even Carl Jung, with all of his profound psychological insight, only partially revealed. Jung once wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." And this is exactly what happens when you experience what modern seekers call a quantum leap. Transformation rarely feels like a smooth or thrilling ascension. Instead, it often arrives as confusion, stillness, or chaos that unsettles the foundations of who you thought you were. These moments of disruption are not accidents, but necessary ruptures. The evidence that your old self is expiring and a new frequency is being born within you. It is like standing in the middle of an earthquake. Everything you relied on shakes. The walls of certainty crack, and you wonder if you will survive. Yet earthquakes do not come to destroy for no reason. They come to clear the ground, to make room for structures that are stronger, truer, and more aligned with the person you are meant to become. Emotional discomfort, whether it shows up as emptiness, misalignment, or that restless gnawing inside your chest, is not a curse or a flaw, but a signpost from your inner world. Jung often reminded us that the psyche uses symptoms to communicate what the conscious mind is unwilling to face, and that what we repress always returns until we have the courage to transform it. So when you feel restlessness or hollowness, do not treat it as a defect in your character, but as the whisper of your soul, urging you to move forward. Think of a snake shedding its skin. The process looks awkward, uncomfortable, even painful, but without it, the snake cannot grow. You too are shedding an identity that no longer serves the next chapter of your life. And though the process may feel unbearable at times, it is sacred. Too many people believe that spiritual awakening should feel serene, blissful, and filled with light at all times. Yet if you study Carl Jung's spiritual wisdom closely, you will see that true awakening often feels like being dismantled before you are rebuilt. He once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul," which explains why many run from discomfort instead of embracing it. But avoiding discomfort only prolongs suffering. When you confront the emptiness and step into the chaos with awareness, you open the door to creation itself. This is where quantum leaping takes place, not in comfort, but in courage. What once appeared as pain becomes a sacred teacher, guiding you toward the higher frequency of your authentic self. Picture a man who has spent decades in a stable job, admired for his reliability, yet inwardly he feels numb, restless, and disconnected. From the outside, nothing is wrong, but inside he knows he cannot continue. That discomfort is not proof that he has wasted his life. It is the universe shaking his foundations, preparing him for a leap. If he listens, he might finally follow his true calling, create deeper connections, or begin a new chapter that aligns with his essence. If he ignores the signs, the restlessness will intensify until change is unavoidable. This is the paradox of growth. The pain you most resist often hides the transformation you most need. So when you find yourself lost in confusion, trapped in stillness, or overwhelmed by chaos, remember that you are not broken. You are in the middle of renewal. Your soul is stretching toward a higher vibration, even if your conscious mind cannot yet understand it. Jung warned, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And that is why discomfort matters. It is the unconscious breaking through the surface, demanding that you evolve. Instead of resisting, trust it. That ache in your chest, that gnawing dissatisfaction, that restless longing are not signs of weakness, but proof that your leap has already begun. And when you emerge on the other side, you will not just be surviving, you will be reborn into a life aligned with your deepest truth. A life that Carl Jung would recognize as the reward of those who dare to face the darkness in order to awaken to the light of spiritual wisdom. Do you feel the discomfort calling you forward? If you do, declare it boldly in the comments. I am ready to leap into my new reality. 3. Identity is a frequency. You are not a static being. You are a living frequency, a broadcast that constantly transmits into the unseen field around you. And the truth of quantum leaping lies in this. The universe does not answer to your words or surface desires. It responds to the emotional and vibrational tone you carry within. You may affirm that you want peace, wealth, or love. But if your inner broadcast is still tuned to fear, scarcity, or self-doubt, life will only reflect those old echoes back to you. Carl Jung revealed the power of the unconscious in shaping our destiny when he said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And here is where spirituality and spiritual growth expand his insight. Fate is not fixed. It is the mirror of your frequency. Transformation is not about forcing new thoughts on top of old wounds. It is about collapsing the vibration of the outdated self and choosing to radiate a new signal, one that already carries the energy of who you are becoming. In the rhythm of modern life, you can see this principle everywhere. Think of someone who wakes up with stress already tightening their chest, scrolling endlessly through notifications, comparing themselves to others, carrying the weight of bills, obligations, and regrets. They tell themselves they want a different day, a breakthrough, yet their body and emotions are still tuned to lack, and so the day plays out like a repetitive script from yesterday. Now picture another person in the same world, rising with intention, taking a deep breath before looking at a screen, choosing gratitude for what already exists, even if circumstances seem unchanged. They align with a frequency of calm, of courage, of joy, and suddenly the world responds. The right call comes at the right time. Conversations feel warmer, and opportunities appear where none seemed possible before. The difference is not luck, it is vibration, the frequency of identity silently shaping what the quantum field returns. Your identity is not the mask you wear. It is the signal you send, and the field is always listening. If you vibrate as someone powerless, life will continuously mirror situations where you feel trapped. If you choose to vibrate as someone capable, worthy, and aligned with truth, life begins to rearrange itself in ways that affirm that broadcast. Albert Einstein's timeless reminder, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. Points directly to this hidden key. You are not waiting for proof to change. You are broadcasting change before proof arrives. Every moment gives you a choice to stay loyal to yesterday's frequency or to step into the higher vibration of the self you long to be. Spiritual growth is the practice of noticing what you are broadcasting and daring to shift it again and again until your outer world aligns with your inner truth. When you realize that identity is frequency, you stop asking when life will change and start asking what frequency you are transmitting right now. Because the leap into your new reality begins not when circumstances shift, but when you decide to collapse the old self and radiate the energy of the new. And it is in that moment, repeated with awareness, that true transformation and freedom begin. 4. 5-step process of quantum jumping. When discomfort shows up as restlessness, heaviness, or frustration, it is not a weakness, but a signal that you are standing on the threshold of transformation. Because in the language of spirituality, this tension is energetic interference, pointing you toward a larger version of yourself. Instead of fearing it, see it as confirmation that you are close to breakthrough. For the body and mind often resist most fiercely right before expansion occurs. The key is to recognize that the unease is not punishment, but permission, an invitation to step forward into a new reality. The moment this discomfort arises, the next move is to interrupt the emotional pattern immediately, because emotions are loops that gather momentum if left unchecked. A simple physical change, like shifting your breath into longer exhales, lifting your posture, walking briskly across the room, rinsing your hands with cool water, or even speaking a single sentence of truth out loud snaps you out of the old cycle. By breaking the loop in real time, you create a pause wide enough to insert choice, and that pause is where spiritual awakening begins. From that space, you are called to embody the new timeline even before there is proof. This is not about pretending, but about teaching your nervous system to accept a higher frequency as home. Ask yourself, how would my future self move, breathe, and decide? And then step into it now, Stand taller. Speak with more certainty. Clear the clutter from your environment. Wear something that reflects the man you are becoming. Or write a phrase that your future self would say and declare it aloud. Through these embodied rehearsals, you make confidence and calmness your default, not a distant dream. Once you begin to feel this shift, it is time to take aligned action, not to chase a result, but to signal the universe that you have already become this new version of yourself. Every action is a declaration, so choose something your future self would not delay and do it today. Send the message you've been postponing. Say no to what drains your energy. Dedicate time to building a skill that truly matters. Prepare a nourishing meal, or move your body with focused intention. The power lies in the purity of action, doing it not to grasp an outcome, but to affirm, I am already aligned. The final step is detachment from the outcome. Results may not appear instantly, but holding on to expectation pulls you back into scarcity. The task is to remain in the frequency, no matter what shows up outside you. Return to the breath of your future self. Maintain the posture and tone you practiced. Stay consistent with your routine, and measure success by your to remain faithful to this state. When you release the need to check and control, you invite synchronicity to unfold in its own time, because cause and effect often travel by hidden roads. Through this rhythm, recognizing discomfort as a threshold, breaking the loop, embodying the new state, taking aligned action, and letting go of results, quantum leaping becomes more than an idea. It turns into a repeatable process that blends psychology with spirituality and allows you to walk steadily into your future. And as you practice, subtle signs confirm the leap. Conversations feel lighter, decisions come easier, temptations lose their grip, and opportunities approach with less resistance, all because you tuned yourself to the frequency of the life you chose to live. If you're ready to apply this 5-step process of quantum jumping into your own life, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's step into this new reality together. 5. The field responds to emotional congruence, not logic. The field of reality does not bend to clever logic or endless affirmations, but to the resonance of your emotions, because the universe is always mirroring back what you are truly being. You can repeat the word abundance 1,000 times, but if your heart is still heavy with fear, lack, or doubt, the reflection will always be scarcity. This is not punishment, and it is not judgment. It is calibration, a perfect mirror that reveals the frequency you live in. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And this truth shows us why so many remain trapped in cycles of frustration, even when they consciously desire change. Their mind may visualize wealth, love, or freedom, but their unconscious emotions vibrate with the opposite, and the field cannot be fooled, because it responds not to words, but to the deepest state of being. Quantum leaping, then, is not about tricking the universe with mental affirmations, but about embodying the energy of the reality you seek so fully that thought, emotion, and belief move as one. Imagine a radio station. No matter how badly you want to hear your favorite song, unless you tune into the right frequency, all you will hear is static. The same principle applies to manifestation. Until your inner frequency matches your desired reality, the field has nothing coherent to amplify. Spiritual wisdom tells us that the shift occurs when you stop living in contradiction, when your body, mind, and soul are no longer at war. Jung's work on the shadow reminds us that what is hidden within us secretly governs our lives, and until we integrate those hidden wounds, they will sabotage our attempts at transformation. Scarcity is not just a thought. It is a state your body remembers. When fear and lack dominate, your nervous system contracts, your energy field tightens, and your perception narrows. Even if you think abundance, your body betrays the lie because it still carries the memory of struggle. That is why healing, shadow work, and integration are essential. Jung observed that there is no coming to consciousness without pain, because only by facing and embracing what was once rejected can we shift our emotional reality. The moment your emotions align with your conscious vision, the field recalibrates and mirrors abundance, love, or freedom with striking accuracy. The universe, in truth, is an echo chamber of being. You cannot outthink your emotional state, but you can transform it. And this is the real secret of quantum leaping. When your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs flow together in harmony, resistance dissolves, and the field responds instantly. What looks like a miracle is in fact the natural physics of consciousness, and synchronicities, opportunities, and breakthroughs begin to appear as if reality itself is conspiring in your favor. Rumi said, "What you seek is seeking you." And this is not only poetry, but a description of how energy magnetizes when coherence is achieved. You are not being judged. You are being mirrored. The field is not testing you. It is showing you who you are at the level of vibration. To leap into a new timeline, you must stop living in contradiction, because no amount of wishing can override the truth of your emotional frequency. Align your inner state with the reality you long for. Bring the unconscious into light. Heal the fragments of your shadow and embody the abundance you desire. Then the leap is no longer an effort. It becomes a natural unfolding, because the field cannot do anything but reflect the wholeness of what you have become. 6. Doubt collapses the broadcast. Doubt collapses the broadcast because the very instant you ask yourself, "Is it working?" you interrupt the energy that is meant to carry you forward. And in doing so, you weaken the very transformation you are longing for. Constant checking for proof is like pulling a seed out of the soil every day to see if it has sprouted, never giving it the chance to take root. What you truly need in spirituality and spiritual growth is not a fragile belief that shakes when life delays its response, but a broadcast, a clear and unwavering signal of identity that you sustain no matter what the external world reflects back. Think of a radio station. It never stops to check if its sound is reaching you. It simply broadcasts. And because of that constant, the signal inevitably finds the receivers tuned to it. There was once a man who wanted to change his career, yet he sabotaged himself by refreshing his inbox every hour, anxiously searching for confirmation. All this did was drain his energy and reinforce his old identity of waiting and doubting. His shift only came when he decided to live each day as if he were already the professional he envisioned. He dressed the part, spoke with confidence, and invested his time in the work he wanted to embody. Within months, opportunities aligned with his new identity began to appear as if by magic. As Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Broadcasting is precisely this act of turning your chosen identity into a conscious signal that you send out, without tearing it down by demanding immediate evidence. Doubt acts like static on the frequency, clouding your message so that the universe cannot respond clearly, while faith in your broadcast is a clean channel through which synchronicity can move. This is why spiritual wisdom has always taught that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Because the unseen is not less real. It is simply not yet visible. Instead of asking, "Is it working?" the only question that matters is, "Am I still broadcasting?" If the answer is yes, then your role is simply to sustain the signal, because reality will always adjust itself to match the frequency you hold. Your life does not change by chasing proof, but by becoming the steady signal of the life you choose. When you live inside that unwavering broadcast, the proof will not only appear, it will flood you, because reality has no choice but to echo back the vibration you have been faithfully sending. Stay connected with our spiritual wisdom community by subscribing to the channel. Here, we uncover hidden truths and walk together on the path of awakening. Remember, doubt collapses the broadcast, but faith keeps your energy aligned with the abundance already waiting for you. 7. Jumping creates chaos. It's not a sign of failure. A quantum leap is never as smooth as we wish it to be, because when you shift into a new frequency, the field of your life begins to reorganize itself in ways that can feel chaotic and unsettling. What once felt secure suddenly unravels, not as a sign of failure, but as proof that the old structures are being dismantled to make room for something greater. Silence from friends, distance in relationships, or even the loss of opportunities are not punishments, but clearings. The frequency you lived in before cannot survive in the higher vibration you are moving toward. And just like a house being taken apart brick by brick, the dismantling is necessary for the new design to emerge. This process can be disorienting because you are leaving behind familiar territory. And as Carl Jung reminded us, in all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order, meaning that even the confusion has an intelligence working beneath it. When you experience this unraveling, it is easy to misinterpret it as rejection or abandonment. But in truth, it is the universe aligning you with what matches your authentic path. A man who left his corporate job after 2 decades to follow his calling as a healer described how quickly the life he knew began to fall apart. The daily calls and social gatherings that once gave him comfort disappeared, and for a while he thought he had made a mistake. But slowly, new connections arrived, clients, mentors, and friendships that resonated with who he was becoming, rather than who he used to be. The silence became space for him to discover his voice. The loss became room for new opportunities, and the distance gave him clarity about what relationships were truly aligned. What he first experienced as chaos revealed itself to be the very proof of his transformation. This is the essence of spirituality and the path of spiritual awakening. To recognize that what looks like disorder is often a hidden order, working to reshape your life to match your new frequency. You may feel stripped of what once defined you, but this is no different than a snake shedding its skin so it can grow. Misalignments surface so they can be released, and the unraveling is not a collapse, but a rebirth. Each silence, each distance, and each loss carries within it the seed of a new beginning. If you can trust this process, you will see that chaos is not the end. It is the very sign that the leap is real and that life is preparing you for a reality that fully reflects your true self. 8. Staying in the new broadcast anchors the shift. When people attempt to quantum leap into a higher version of themselves, most fail not because the leap is impossible, but because they do not remain in the new vibration long enough for reality to align with it. They jump with excitement, but impatience and old conditioning quickly pull them back into their familiar patterns, and in that collapse, they mistakenly believe the leap has failed. In truth, reality is not instant, but elastic, bending slowly to meet the frequency you hold. Just as a seed requires time in the soil before it breaks through the surface, your new vibration needs time to anchor before the outer world can reflect it back to you. And here lies the deeper spiritual wisdom that even Carl Jung, with all his insight into the human psyche, never fully revealed. Transformation is not only about the initial spark, but the sustained resonance that follows. To remain in that frequency requires trust, discipline, and awareness. Jung himself once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The unconscious pulls of fear, doubt, and impatience are what drag you back into your old life. And unless you confront them, you cannot sustain your new identity. It is in the moments when no one is watching, in the silence of your own thoughts and emotions, that your true broadcast is sent into the universe. What you feel when the world is not looking shapes reality more than what you perform publicly, because vibration speaks louder than words. If your inner life is scattered between faith and doubt, your signal is fragmented. But when your inner life is steady in trust, reality has no choice but to bend toward it. Every time you question, "Why hasn't it happened yet?" you are unknowingly sending out the vibration of lack, and lack cannot create abundance. Impatience is not just restlessness. It is mistrust in disguise, and mistrust interrupts the leap. To hold the vibration is to dwell in the as if, to embody already having what you desire until it becomes natural, until it seeps into your unconscious and becomes your default state. William James reminded us that belief creates the actual fact, and belief is not measured in moments of passion, but in the quiet consistency of your inner stance. Ralph Waldo Emerson echoed this truth when he said, "The ancestor of every action is a thought." For when thought is sustained with unwavering feeling, it inevitably becomes reality. Quantum leaping, then, is not a sudden miracle, but an inner discipline, a commitment to keep your vibration steady no matter how long reality takes to catch up. This is where true spiritual awakening begins, because spirituality is not only belief in the unseen, but the patience to live within it until the seen transforms. The leap is real the moment you refuse to collapse, the moment you choose trust over doubt, the moment you breathe through the silence and remind yourself that the shift is already unfolding. When your inner broadcast stays aligned, reality has no choice but to respond. And so the great lesson, beyond Jung's exploration of the unconscious, is that you are not only a seeker of hidden truths, but also a transmitter of frequencies that shape the world. What you feel when no one else can see is not just a private moment, it is the seed of your new reality. If you're still with us on this journey, comment below, "I'm anchored in the shift." Your words show us that you're ready to stay in the new broadcast and help us build this community together. 9. Certainty without evidence is the key. The strongest signal you can ever hold is certainty in yourself, not in the outcome. Because when you are rooted in who you are becoming, rather than what you are chasing, life begins to rearrange itself to match that signal. The field, as Carl Jung hinted but never fully taught, responds with greater speed when you stop needing proof. Because proof is only the echo of your inner state. Reality never bends to frantic effort or desperate control. It bends when you consistently embody the signal of who you already know yourself to be. Think of how often in daily life people delay stepping forward until the evidence arrives, waiting for the promotion before claiming leadership, waiting for validation before speaking their truth, waiting for a perfect sign before trusting love. Yet the real shift comes when you flip the order, when you stop auditioning and begin living as though your role is already secured. A modern story illustrates this. A man who wanted to start his own business kept postponing his launch until he had one more degree, one more investor, one more nod of approval. But the day he wrote down, "I am a capable founder who builds solutions people need," and began acting from that certainty, introducing himself that way, creating as though it were real, organizing his life around it, doors opened with unexpected ease. Clients and partners showed up, not because he forced results, but because his signal was finally clear. This is spirituality made practical. This is spiritual growth lived, not as abstract belief, but as daily choices rooted in trust. You can feel it in your own body the moment you stop negotiating with doubt. Your breath steadies, your posture shifts, and your voice carries conviction because you are no longer waiting for evidence to tell you who you are. Certainty is not arrogance or denial. It is alignment with a chosen identity that you hold through both victories and setbacks, adjusting methods when needed, but never abandoning the signal. This is the essence of a quantum leap, not a magical rescue, but a disciplined identity shift that pulls results into orbit around you. To live this truth, craft one clear sentence about who you are and practice being that signal without checking for proof. Honor daily rituals that anchor your certainty. Keep promises to yourself to strengthen trust, and let outcomes inform your tactics, but never your self-definition. The field will mirror you more quickly when you stop demanding signs and instead become the sign. And when you remain consistent long enough, reality itself has no choice but to reorganize around your unwavering presence. 10. Don't seek proof. Become the signal. What if the real reason you remain stuck is not because life is blocking you, but because you keep transmitting the same frequency of the past instead of aligning with the energy of the future you desire? In the language of spirituality and spiritual awakening, this is the essence of a quantum leap. It is not about chasing proof from the outside. It is about becoming the living proof yourself. When you pause and ask, "Am I broadcasting my future, or am I rehearsing my past?" you open a doorway to transformation, because every thought, every feeling, and every inner rehearsal is a signal sent into the field of possibility. Carl Jung spoke profoundly about the unconscious shaping our lives, yet he never showed us how deliberately shifting our inner broadcast could realign us with new timelines. That is where spiritual wisdom expands the conversation, revealing that the leap is never dramatic or chaotic. It arrives quietly, subtly, and in perfect elegance, showing itself not through explosions of change, but through alignment that feels natural, inevitable, and deeply right. You begin to notice coincidences that cannot be ignored, synchronicities that feel like signposts placed precisely in your path, and opportunities that seem to appear as if summoned by your very thoughts. These are not random accidents. They are confirmations that your signal has shifted, that you are no longer tethered to the old narrative, but walking inside a new one. Consider the man who, for years, wakes each morning rehearsing the same story of frustration about his job, repeating words of limitation, and unconsciously tying himself to a cycle he secretly hates. The moment he dares to imagine something different, the moment he begins to carry himself as though the future he longs for is already unfolding, his signal changes. At first, the shift is invisible, but slowly, small cracks in the old reality appear. A conversation overheard, a new connection introduced, an unexpected opening revealed. Within months, he finds himself living a reality once beyond reach, not because the world magically changed, but because his signal called it into existence. This is why, when you feel that subtle, elegant shift inside, you must not dismiss it as mere coincidence. It is evidence. Every synchronicity is the universe whispering, "Yes, you jumped." The true proof is not external validation, but the undeniable realignment of your inner world with what now flows into your life. The leap does not require shouting or demanding. It requires broadcasting a new frequency with such clarity that reality itself bends to meet you. This is the heart of spirituality, the living pulse of spiritual awakening. To stop seeking proof and instead become the signal. Because once you embody the future you desire, life cannot resist reflecting it back to you. Throughout this video, we explored the hidden truth behind quantum leaping and how it connects with ideas Carl Jung never fully explained. You've discovered that a leap isn't just a metaphor, it's a real shift in consciousness, a bridge between who you are today and the life you are capable of living. Now the question is, will you dare to apply these principles in your own life? Every step you take with awareness can open new possibilities for growth, happiness, and spiritual awakening. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe you are ready to take your quantum leap? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next journey into deeper truths.